I'm Carol Duvall. Well, on today's show, and I think it's going to be a good one, we're going to show you a very creative way to recycle your clothing. We'll also take you soaring with a most unusual kite maker and make you a patio Picasso, all in a half an hour. I think we better get moving. Stay with us. Well, that looks like kind of fun, painting on metal, on wood, on rocks. Next thing you know, we're probably going to be painting on air, which really, now that I mention it, is what our next guest seems to do. Beautiful. Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. While I'm talking and talking about our guest and what he does, I want you to take a look at what we have flying high in our studio today. Ordinarily, you'd see these outdoors being whipped by the wind, dragons and birds and serpents and just plain old wonderful splashes of color in the sky. These are all the work of our guest, Jose Sainz, who is a two-time winner of the Grand Champion Design Award from the American Kite Flying Association. And welcome to the show, Jose. Now, ordinarily, our viewers don't think of learning how to do kites on this show, but a lot of the techniques that you're going to show us you can actually use in, like, making banners and things, can't you?
You can use it for anything that you want to apply some artwork to.
Oh, and where do you get the ideas for these wonderful designs? Out of your head?
Well, the designs, a lot of the kite designs are standard designs from around the world. One of my favorite ones is a rokaku shape, which is a Japanese-style kite. It's a six-sided kite. It's a rectangular kite. And as far as artwork, you can use anything from your own artwork or anything from a book, from any of the craft stores that you can find, anything that you want. The way that we go on to applying this, first of all,
excuse me, this is the one we're doing? The one that you've got down there? Okay, want to be sure that's what we're heading for. Oh, it looks different in the color.
Yes, sure. So you can see the design as far as the colors that I've selected here. The background is going to be a magenta color, and then we're going to have a blue moon and green eyes for the cat.
Whoa.
So the way that we start this is we create the pattern, which is you just draw it inside the actual kite size. You select the kite that's going to be your design drawing, and you place it on top of your pattern, and you trace with pencil all the lines. So you can be really free with this and go ahead and just be free and draw as you please.
So you're not too compulsive of being exactly on top of the pattern?
No, because when you start sewing, you're just going to use this as a guideline. Okay. So once you have all the drawing on this is what you're going to be sewing on top. Next thing you want to do is cut out pieces for the colors that you're going to use in the eye and the moon. So one large piece is going to cover the moon, as you can see right here. Cut about an area about 3/4 of an inch larger than what you're going to be using. So in this case, I've already drawn it, and just be free with this.
Oh, does that cut through? What is it? Is this that ripstop nylon?
This is nylon ripstop. That's correct. It's a lightweight 3/4 ounce material, and it's very light, so it's great for kites, and it comes in great looking colors.
I made some tote bags out of this once. It's brilliant. You don't get lost.
Oh, you get a lot of looks with these colors, don't you? Okay, we'll put those aside. After you cut out all the pieces that you need, for instance, here I just didn't finish it off because I have another piece here. I also cut out a piece for the eyes, just enough to cover the eyes. I'll put this aside. Now what we do is we go ahead and bring in a piece of black, which is the same size of the kite that we have. This is going to be the background. The border and the background for the kite should be the same size of the kite. You bring in the piece where you drew the design on. Okay, you put them together. Now you're going to start placing all the pieces that you cut out in between the base and the design. I've done it on this one already.
Whoa, you're a fast worker.
And I wanted to show you that in order to keep all this, as you can see, this is all too slippery. In order to keep it from moving while you're sewing, you need a hot burning tool, which is, you can find any hardware.
Oh, that's a regular wood burner.
Exactly.
Okay.
I just sharpen up the point, and that stays really hot. I don't have it out right now. And then you just burn a hole to fuse the material together about every inch or so over the design that you're going to be sewing.
Oh.
Okay, what that does, again...
It's like basting it.
Exactly. You're gluing it together. Here are the pieces underneath. You can see the green and the blue, and they're all underneath the shapes that you're going to be sewing. Once you do this, and you have it all tacked, I call it tacking because it tacks the material together, then you're ready to begin sewing this kite.
Okay, and that's exactly what we're going to do next. And I'm sure a lot of you are already saying, oh, this is applique he's doing. Right. And when we come back, Jose's going to show us how to do all that. Well, I'm back with Jose Sainz, our wonderful award-winning kite designer, and this is the kite that Jose has been taking us through step by step. Before we go on, I have to ask you this one question. Do you actually fly any of your creations?
Absolutely, all the time.
Oh, good. All right, I feel better now. Now, all right, you had shown us how we put this whole thing together and had taken it up to the point of stitching it, but now it looks like you've done all the
I'm going to show you the sewing. Actually, I've gone ahead and actually sewn this together, but I'll show you the process that you go through. If you remember, we tacked this down so it wouldn't move around.
Yes.
Well, that's important when you're sewing. The other thing important when you're sewing is that you want to use that line only as a guideline, and then just guide the kite through the turns as you begin to sew.
The needle is here.
The needle is there. I'm just guiding it with my fingers right through to make an even curve.
It's beautifully done. It's so neat and tidy. Now, this is just a regular zigzag.
This is a zigzag, but the best result I got is with about 1/8 of an inch width and about 20 stitches per inch. One other thing that you want to do to keep it from moving around is go ahead and sew the longest continuous line first, which is, in this case, it's the border here. After you've done that, then you can go ahead and do any bit of this until you're all completely done. Once you're done, this is the back of the kite. You want to begin cutting away some of the material that you have here. Remember, we want the cap to be black, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to relieve some of this material. You pinch it to separate, and then you squeeze it and slide it. Once you have a slide, you can cut in it, and then put my scissors in, go all the way to the end. Now, from here on, I'm not going to use the actual motion of the scissor up and down. It's all pressure cutting. I push against the stitch, and then I push forward all in one motion.
Woo.
Okay, as you can see, this is cutting the material.
Move the fabric sort of as you, oh no.
And I'm, actually, the material will stay there, and then I'll just pull it away as I go.
So it's just the opposite as when you're sewing. When you're sewing, you keep the needle in one place and you move the fabric. Here,
that's correct.
You keep the fabric and you move your scissors.
Here, I'm just cutting it just to show you what we start getting here. You can see the blue underneath here.
Ah, yes.
So you go ahead and actually remove all the material from the blue, or I should say from the blue moon here, and then the eyes. You go ahead and clear everything away, including the border here. So the piece that you had your drawing on is all going to be just the border on here. So
that actually then when I get cut. Now you've got 2 layers here though, haven't you? Or
that's correct.
Okay.
Now if you remember, I have the green underneath the pink or the magenta here.
Yes.
But I want that green to stay there, so I would have cut the magenta off of here. I'll go ahead and trim that. But what you want to do is actually turn it around and go ahead and trim on this side, which is the front side of the kite. This is what's going to start giving you the actual border, black border around each of the shapes. Here on the eye, what we're going to do is the shapes are so small I can't pinch them. So I'll go ahead and use an X-Acto knife and lift the first piece of material, which is a black, and then slide over to the side. Once I have that, then I can go ahead and cut. But remember, I still have blue from the moon on there. So
that's right.
I'll go ahead and lift that piece.
That to me would be the scary part.
Practice will make you perfect. As you can see, I'm turning my hand all the way around. Now you can see the green underneath.
There it comes out.
Okay, some of these other pieces, you just go ahead. I started cutting here.
So this kite actually is just as beautiful on the back as it is the front.
That's part of the beauty of this kite, that you can turn it over one side or the other, and it's all going to show just the same.
Is this okay then if I do this one now to show this? This is what it's going to look like. Absolutely. On the side that you're cutting now, because all of this all this black that was here is cut away.
It's
and
been
this
cut
is
away.
The part. And then on the other side, I don't know if I can, no, I can't turn it around. Anyway, it's just as pretty on the other side, believe me, because we've got it stationed there. What I want to know, now, I hadn't really thought about, you know, going out and learning how to make kites, but this sort of applique is gorgeous. Is there information, is there places where we can get information on how to make kites and how to do this sort of thing, or even just to make kites, period?
The best place is to write to the American Kite Flyers Association. There's also the World Kite Museum in Long Beach, Washington. And also any kite store that you can go into will have books on how to do this.
So, oh, they do have books on
Yes.
making kites. Because this is such a far cry. I mean, gosh, how I remember standing out in the corner with my brother and my dad. I mean, from our newspaper kites, this kind, you know, and then we'd send messages up the thing. I mean, this brings back all sorts of memories of childhood and my kids' childhood, too.
That's what got me into the hobby, the pleasure of actually flying the kites.
And you do this with the family?
With family most of the times.
Oh, God. It is really. If you haven't gone flying a kite lately, you really ought to give it a try. Even though it may not be a kite like this, we've got to take a last look at this incredible kite over here. Now, I know these are all award-winning kites, but this is the most recent top winner, right?
Absolutely. Grand National Champion in actually it was 1992.
Oh my gosh. And now when you look at that, you folks who've been watching Jose make this, do you believe that's applique? And it has a tail that goes on into the next county. It is that long. Jose, I can't tell you how enjoyable this was and how much I appreciate you being our guest here today. Thank you. And of course, thanks to Judy Mulford, too, and to you for joining us. I hope you had a good time.